Well, Treasurer Jim Chalmers has handed down this year's budget for the 2024-25 financial year. It is his third budget delivered as Treasurer. Of course, with so many cost of living pressures and global economic issues, this budget will play a key role in the lives of many Australians now more than ever. The Treasurer spruiking it as the budget for every Australian. Inflation, of course, remains a major struggle for the government and a very fine balancing act for the Treasurer. Jim Chalmers looking to provide cost of living relief while also trying to jumpstart the slowing economy as the global economic outlook deteriorates. Nonetheless, there are many key takeaways from Tuesday night's federal budget. Firstly, though, its economic state. Now, as was expected, it was announced a back-to-back budget surplus for the first time in nearly 2 decades, with a surplus of $9.3 billion for the 2023-2024 financial year. The silver lining is, though, it's likely the last surplus for a little while. It's forecast that for the 2024-25 financial year, we'll see a double-digit deficit in the billions and for the next few years to come. Let's start with the winners from the federal budget, and the major talking point of it is the $3.5 billion package to support cheaper energy bills. Every household in Australia will receive a $300 discount off their energy bills. This package is extended to small businesses who will also benefit from the Energy Bill Relief Fund, who are able to get $325 off their power bills. This coming into effect from July the 1st and is automatically applied to your bills. But the big question is, how will this impact inflation? Well, Dr. Jim Chalmers is quite confident it won't. And in fact, it's quite the opposite. The budget estimates that because the relief is a rebate rather than direct cash payments, the move will bring down inflation by 0.5% this year alone.
The ABS has shown how cutting energy bills directly cuts inflation too, keeping the lights on for families and businesses and keeping downward pressure on inflation.
Now on to the tax cuts, which we have known about for some time. From July 1, Stage 3 tax cuts will come into effect. This really is the centrepiece of the federal budget and something the government has been promoting for quite a while, since late January in fact. The tax cuts have been reformed from what was originally proposed by the previous government though. They are tax cuts for all taxpayers in some way, shape or form. On average, taxpayers will receive a tax cut of $1,888 or $36 per week in 2024-25. And according to Treasury estimates, by 2034-35, someone earning an average income will pay $21,915 less tax.
And for 84% of taxpayers and 90% of tax-paying women, a bigger tax cut than they would have under the previous government. This is about rewarding the hard work of our nurses and teachers and truckies and tradies, and the 2.9 million people earning $45,000 a year or less who would have received nothing. The average benefit is $1,888 a year, which is $36 a week. Our tax cuts are better for families and communities, women and young people. They are better for business and they are better for the economy.
Now on to the renters. There's more than 3 million households who are renting in Australia right now, and for around 1 million of those who are on the Commonwealth Rent Assistance payments, the maximum rate will increase. It will go up 10% on top of a 15% increase last year. This the first back-to-back increase in more than 30 years. The government pledging an additional $1.9 billion over 5 years to support this. For families with children, the increases are an additional $70 per fortnight. This change will come into effect from September 30. Now for pensioners, and the government has introduced measures aimed at assisting them and also income support recipients. Firstly, the 5-year freeze for PBS medicines for those on aged care pensions will continue, and pensioners will see the deeming rate freezed extended for another year. Deeming rates are pivotal in estimating individuals' earnings from financial assets and play a crucial role in means testing welfare payments, such as the age pension. These rates have remained constant since 2022, offering stability instead of fluctuating annually at the start of each financial year. Extending this freeze until June next year is expected to benefit approximately 870,000 people, including 450,000 age pensioners. This is hoped to ease their cost of living pressures. Now, students are also major winners out of this budget. The government is set to reduce student debt by $3 billion, supporting over 3 million Australians. This reduction stems from changes to the Higher Education Loan Program indexation rate, which will now align with the lower figure between the Consumer Price Index and the Wage Price Index. The indexation rate shift from 7.1% to 3.2% in the latter half of 2023 and from 4.7% to 4% in 2024 marks a significant change. To put this in perspective, a former student with an average help debt of $26,500 can expect a credit of $1,190 to their account due to the new indexation policy. Overall, this adjustment will reduce the total debt by approximately $1,600 for such individuals. The government will also introduce an independent ombudsman to settle disputes between students and universities. There's also Commonwealth prac payment. This sees up to $319.50 per week for students during their placements, and it's in an attempt to combat placement poverty. That will kick in during 2025.
Spikes in inflation have exposed a flaw in this system and put young people under unfair pressure. We are fixing that and we're changing that so that it won't happen again. We're capping indexation of student loans. It will wipe $3 billion in student debt for over 3 million Australians and save the average person around $1,200. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, going to university can be a life-changing opportunity. For 35 years now, our student loan system has supported millions of people who study hard to chase their dream.
On to health, something many people fork out thousands of dollars on per year. The federal government will impose 2 price freezes on the Pharmaceutical Benefits Scheme, also known as the PBS. Firstly, one freeze starting on January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. It will see the maximum payment for prescriptions halted at $31.60, the current maximum. A second freeze will apply between January 1, 2025 and January 31, 2029 for concession card holders, including pensioners, which means prescription prices will be capped at $7.70 until 2030. This will cost the budget $318 million over 5 years from 2023-24.
But 6 out of 10 PBS scripts go to pensioners and concession card holders, and we will freeze the cost of their medicines for 5 years. Meaning no pensioner, no concession card holder will pay more than $7.70 for the medicine that they need. Yeah. We're also investing $3.4 billion to add life-changing and life-saving medicines to the PBS, cutting the cost of one breast cancer treatment from around $100,000 to $31.60.
Now, in budgets there are always losers, but some of these losers you may not have much sympathy for. The government is looking to crack down on NDIS fraudsters with $468.7 million for the NDIS in the budget. This includes $214 million to combat fraud, as well as design reforms to the scheme in coordination with people who have a disability. The major supermarkets will also be coming off worse amid complaints of soaring grocery prices. A report by economist and former Labor Minister Craig Emerson recommended a supermarket code of conduct among other recommendations. Now, that advice will be taken by the government and worked into the budget. This will also increase competition in the sector, meaning the giants won't be too happy.
Speaker, we know that Australians are feeling the pinch at the checkout. That's why we empowered the competition watchdog to hold supermarkets accountable. That's why we're taking steps to make the food and grocery code mandatory and making our economy more competitive across the board by strengthening the mergers regime and abolishing nuisance tariffs and reducing compliance costs for business. $6.2 billion in new investments mean our $32 billion Homes for Australia plan will clear local infrastructure bottlenecks, provide more housing for students, fund more social and affordable housing, and we'll also deliver better transport for better access to suburbs and cities and regions. Our $22.7 billion Future Made in Australia package will help make us an indispensable part of the global net zero economy, a crucial part of a growth agenda, which is all about attracting investment in key industries.
Now, we are told the budget is all about keeping inflation down, but that's up to the RBA to decide, and we hear from the RBA next on June 18. So that's everything you need to know from the budget for every Australian, as the Treasurer put it. A lot of winners from this, in particular with tax cuts for basically everyone and energy bill support at the time when it's needed most.